Dustin, you're committing a crime for going against the General's family. Jaden threatened in pain. I warn you, let me go now, or you'll pay for this with your life. As a descendant of the General's family, you're nothing but a pathetic weakling, a disgrace. Your father obviously didn't teach you a thing, so I will. Dustin stated before punching Jaden in the stomach. Jaden screamed in agony. He doubled over and nearly vomited. But Dustin's hand prevented it, and Jaden struggled, choking and coughing. His face turned red from the suffering. I'll kill you. I swear, I'll kill you. Jaden seethed with hatred, his calm demeanor replaced by anger and pain. Is that so? Dustin chuckled, still holding Jaden's face with one hand and repeatedly hitting his stomach with the other. Each punch was harsh, and Jaden cried in pain, convulsing uncontrollably. He was even losing control of his bladder. At that moment, Jaden was silenced. Stop! Just as Dustin was punching Jaden, a sudden cry rang out from behind them. Dustin turned to find Sheila awake and bewildered. She hadn't expected to wake up to this scene, and was confused about what was happening. Dustin, what's going on? Sheila asked, looking puzzled. I'm teaching Jaden a lesson on behalf of General Murray. Dustin replied bluntly. He's been helping the bad guys, and I'm trying to keep him from causing harm to others and himself. That's nonsense, Vivian interjected. She added, Sheila, Dustin was the one who kidnapped you. We came to rescue you, but Jaden got caught up in this mess when Dustin attacked him. Look at Jaden. He's been badly injured. Exactly. This guy has no shame. When we exposed him, he resorted to violence. He's truly despicable, Evan added. Sheila, still puzzled, turned to Dustin and asked, Is what they're saying true? Do you think I'm the kind of person they describe? Dustin replied with a question. No, Sheila shook her head. But why did you attack Jaden? Dustin explained, This Diego, from Kimboku, kidnapped you and used you to threaten me. After I dealt with the Kimboku warriors, Jaden and his men arrived. Instead of condemning Diego, Jaden defended him and accused me. He even threatened to have me arrested. Shouldn't someone like him be taught a lesson? Sheila was momentarily speechless. She wondered if what Dustin said was true. Then Jaden's actions were indeed questionable. Sheila, please don't let him fool you. He's lying, Jaden shouted as he endured the pain. He continued, He's the one who kidnapped you. We caught him in the act, so he attacked me. He's not a good person. Those words made Sheila hesitant. She believed Jaden had always been upright and of good character. Hence, she had good reason to believe he wouldn't do anything to ruin his reputation. Sheila, whether it's true or not, you can judge for yourself by looking at the bodies on the ground, Dustin said. Those are all Kimboku warriors, the ones who kidnapped you. I believe you might recognize some of them. So, you decide. Sheila carefully looked at the bodies. She recognized a few of them by their tattoos. Finally, she confirmed that they were indeed her kidnappers. Jaden, these Kimboku warriors seem to be the real kidnappers. What's going on? Sheila asked as she turned to Jaden with a frown. Sheila, don't be fooled, Jaden said firmly. This is all a setup by Dustin. He planned the abduction and then posed as the hero to gain your favor. He's a schemer. Don't believe his lies. Dustin couldn't help but sneer. Jaden, you've no more shame in you. You accuse me without evidence, but what about Diego behind you? What role does he play in all of this? He had initially thought Jaden was sly, but he hadn't expected him to be so shamelessly deceitful. Jaden was blatantly telling lies. HMPH, Diego is the only survivor and the sole witness, Jaden asserted. He sounded so sure. Dustin paid Diego to kidnap you and later planned to kill him to cover his tracks. He's despicable. With that, Jaden winked at Diego. Diego was startled but quickly apologized, saying, Miss Sheila, I'm sorry for earlier. The kidnapping was all planned by Dustin. If I had known your identity, I would never have kidnapped you. He showed his sincere regret. Taking the chance, Jaden added, Sheila, did you hear that? Dustin is the real bad guy. That's right. Dustin is responsible for everything, Vivian said. Evan chimed in, I agree. He's sneaky and will do anything to get what he wants. We can all testify. Dustin kills these warriors to cover his tracks. Everyone started talking, and it became hard to tell the guilty from the innocent. Sheila was confused and lost. She wasn't good at making decisions and didn't know whom to trust now. "Sheila, I'm telling the truth," Dustin said. "Sheila, I'm your cousin." "Would I lie to you?" Jaden pleaded. "Sheila, why would I kidnap you? Sheila, we've known each other for years. Have I ever lied to you? Sheila, stay calm and think. Don't let anyone fool you. Sheila, would you trust a stranger over your cousin?" Dustin and Jaden argued back and forth, both trying to convince her. "Stop, please stop." Sheila covered her ears and sat on the ground, looking confused and hurt. She couldn't tell who was telling the truth. "Sheila." Dustin was about to comfort her. Suddenly, Jaden, who could move again, pulled out a knife and aimed it at Dustin's chest. "Die." Jaden sneered and thrust the knife at Dustin. He believed that as long as he killed the man before him, who cared about right or wrong? With dozens of witnesses, could they not persuade Sheila? The knife tip pierced through the clothes. However, Dustin's protective energy sphere blocked it, preventing it from going further. Jaden was stunned and wondered why his knife couldn't go through. "Are you seeking death?" Dustin's eyes hardened and he punched Jaden in the stomach. With a muffled sound, Jaden was sent flying more than 30 feet away. He crashed heavily into the wall. Jaden coughed up blood, teetering on the brink of death. A sudden loud noise startled everyone. They turned to see Jaden stuck in the wall. Only his hands and feet were showing, blood coming out from his mouth and nose. "Jaden!" "Mr. Murray!" After a moment of shock, their faces paled. They rushed to get Jaden out of the wall and give him first aid. "Reese, how could you harm the Murray family's heir? This is outrageous!" Vivian exclaimed. "Dustin, if anything happens to Jaden, you won't get away with it," Evan warned firmly. "Are you all blind? Jaden attacked me first." "I was only defending myself," Dustin replied. "I didn't see anything. All I saw was you injuring someone. Turn yourself in or face serious consequences." Vivian's expression turned sinister. "That's right. Surrender now," Evan added. "Fools," Dustin sneered, ignoring their threats. He knew Jaden attacked him first, and if he hadn't acted fast, it could have been deadly. Grandmother martial artists like him relied on their protective energy sphere to handle sharp weapons. Hence, depending only on their bodies wasn't enough. Otherwise, it would be his demise. "Sheila, did you see what just happened? This guy lacks martial ethics. He attacked Jaden, possibly with the intent to kill." Vivian continued to stir the pot. "Yes, Sheila. Dustin is deceitful. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing." Jaden only argued with him, and he responded with this vicious attack. Evan added fuel to the fire. "Dustin, why did you do this?" Sheila asked in disbelief. Jaden was her cousin, and Dustin's attack looked deadly. "Sheila, Jaden stabbed me with a knife. I acted on instinct," Dustin explained. At that moment, Vivian discreetly took the knife from Jaden's hand. "Stabbed you?" Sheila scrutinized Dustin, but discovered no injuries on him. She expressed her disappointment, her eyes welling up with tears. "Dustin, do you still want to lie to me? Do you think I'm naive and easily fooled?" "Yes, I may be naive, but I'm not blind. If you have no ulterior motives, why did you attack someone? I always thought you were a good person and trusted you. But why? Why do you lie to me?" As she spoke, her eyes turned red. She had struggled to believe her father's accusations, hoping that Dustin was sincere. But witnessing his attack shattered her trust. "Sheila, what are you saying?" Dustin furrowed his brow. He said earnestly, "I've never lied to you and always considered you a friend." "A friend?" Sheila laughed at herself, her voice trembling with mixed emotions. "If you think of me as a friend, why did you hurt Jaden? Why did you kidnap me? What's the point of it all?" Dustin was momentarily speechless. He had mentioned his involvement in the fight with Jaden earlier. Still, Sheila didn't believe him. She had already decided, and it seemed pointless to explain. Trust faded once suspicion took hold, which he had come to accept. "Why are you so quiet? Are you admitting you did it?" Sheila's voice quivered with disappointment. "It seems my dad was right about you. Your past actions were just an act to gain our favor." She continued, "I thought you were different and special. You're not like those who care only about power. But now I see I was mistaken. You're like those who pretended to be close to me, but were better at hiding your true intentions. You fooled me, made me doubt myself, and almost caused problems in my family. Dustin, I hate you, Sheila shouted and began to cry. She had genuinely trusted him, believing she had found real affection, only to be deceived. She couldn't figure out what she had done wrong. Confronted with Sheila's accusations, Dustin shook his head and laughed bitterly. He knew Sheila had made her choice. She had chosen her family. It made sense, so he had no reason to be upset with her decision. Ms. Murray, I'm sorry for letting you down. You're right. I'm someone who seeks recognition, but I've never lied to you. However, that doesn't matter now. I have nothing more to say. Dustin didn't elaborate or defend himself. He continued, I hope you'll be more careful in the future with the people you trust to avoid further disappointment. You're safe now. I've fulfilled my obligation to General Murray. Your path from here on is on. Take care of yourself. See you soon, you're. With those words, Dustin turned and walked away. The others instinctively made way for him as they were too afraid to stop him. Dustin. As Sheila watched him leave, a sense of panic gripped her. She reached out as if to stop him, but found herself at a loss for words. She had a vague feeling that she had missed something important. The connection she had with Dustin had shattered in an instant. And now, they were strangers. Sheila, I warned you about Dustin, Vivian said as she was eager to fan the flames. You've finally seen his true nature. Stay away from him in the future. He's not right for you. Yeah, Sheila, luckily you realized it in time, Evan added. If you continue to be fooled by him, you would have made a big mistake. Did you see how he attacked Jaden? Absolutely terrible. Sheila let out a soft sigh, her emotions in turmoil. Despite feeling uneasy, she ultimately pushed her doubts aside. She realized that the gap between them was too wide. Even without this incident, they could never have truly connected. They came from different worlds and were meant to stay apart. Mr. Murray! Mr. Murray! Wake up! The loud shout suddenly interrupted Sheila's thoughts. She turned quickly to see Jaden, who was unconscious. Jaden! Sheila rushed to check on him. Dustin had punched Jaden hard in the stomach. It left him barely breathing and on the brink of death. That Dustin went way too far, injuring Jaden like this, Vivian fumed. I wish that guy hadn't run off so quickly, or I'd have beaten him to death, Evan grumbled. Though they couldn't beat him in a fight, they were seething in anger. Quick, let's get him to the hospital. Sheila called for help, and they quickly got Jaden into a car, racing to East Swinton Hospital. Soon, the doctors began to treat Jaden's injury. It wasn't until late at night that Jaden was finally out of danger. Luckily, Dustin had held back to avoid causing fatal harm. In the ICU, Jaden lay unconscious. He looked as pale as a ghost. Caden and the others stood vigil at his side. The past few days had been tumultuous for the Murray family. First, Roxanne was injured by a horse. Caden ended up in the hospital, and now Jaden was in critical condition. What worried them the most was that all these incidents seemed connected to Dustin. How's Jaden doing? Edgar rushed into the ward, looking disheveled. He'd been busy all day and had just heard about his son. Edgar, don't worry too much. Jaden is now in stable condition, Caden reassured him. Who would dare attack my son? Edgar fumed. As the head of the Murray family, he was nearly untouchable in Millsburg. He wondered who would be bold enough to attack his son. It's Dustin, Caden said firmly. That punk has no respect. He attacked Jaden and caused serious harm. It's clear he has no regard for our family. Dustin. Edgar's face darkened. That scoundrel. He harmed Roxanne before, and now he's hurt my son. I'll make sure he pays dearly. He was livid with his daughter hospitalized just the day before, and now his son in a hospital bed. Edgar, please, let's not make a scene. We need to be cautious, Caden advised with a serious tone. What do you mean? Do you want me to act like nothing happened to my kids? Edgar was furious. Don't get me wrong. I'm thinking about what's best for you, Caden said firmly. He added, remember, it's Father's birthday tomorrow. We don't need a big celebration, but guests will come and go. If we create a ruckus, it will damage the family's reputation and upset him. Edgar furrowed his brow. While he wanted to confront Dustin, he realized that causing a commotion on the eve of their father's birthday was inappropriate. Caden, after everything that's happened, do you have any suggestions? Edgar asked. Let's tap into the resources of the Murray family. We're sure to attract attention. So I propose we seek help from the Martial Arts Alliance. They have skilled people, and with the right money, we can handle Dustin. It's a practical plan, Caden suggested. You're right. I almost forgot about that, Edgar said, his anger fading. Edgar nodded and said, I'll leave this to you. Find some skilled experts to deal with Dustin for me. He knew money could solve his problem without him having to get his hands dirty.